Hey guys! Today I have a giant review roundup of a bunch of products that I've been testing recently. I also tried them on in this video, so I'm wearing all of them on my face right now, or most of them. The products don't necessarily go well together, but I wanted to show you how they perform and how they apply. And this is a mix of products that I've received in PR and some things that I've purchased as well. Anytime a new product comes in, I like to put it into like a purgatory type of place. I have a drawer specifically for new products, and then after I've tested out the product, I will then decide if it's something I want to keep permanently in my makeup collection or if it's something that I want to find a new home for. So for all of these products, I'm going to let you know whether I like them, recommend them or not, and if they've earned a permanent spot in my makeup collection, because not everything gets to have a permanent spot in my collection. So before we get into it, I do also want to invite you to check out my Patreon or my channel membership. I have both platforms available, and every month I offer my patrons and members an exclusive video. This month it's going to be a day in the life or days in the life vlog, and I also do a patron and member exclusive live stream every month. So if you're interested in supporting my channel, my patrons and members allow me to be able to purchase products for review and keep putting back into my channel. So if you're interested in supporting my channel in that way, I would love to have you. Otherwise, let's go ahead and get into the massive review roundup that we have to tackle. So this first product I've been testing is the Makeup Revolution Eye Bright Corrector. This is, they say on their website, it's meant to be used as a base for concealer. So I have tried it both under and over concealer. I definitely would agree that it wears best under makeup. It is very brightening, so sometimes I feel like I need to apply concealer on top just to not have my under eyes be way too bright. This has a very tacky feel, and when you warm it up with your finger, it like instantly melts onto your finger into this sort of tacky, creamy consistency. And a little goes a long way. I think I got enough for both under eyes there. I already have foundation on, but that's the only other product on right now. I like to just dot this in the darkest region of my under eye, which is really like this inner part. And you can see it does significantly brighten the area. It also has a very dewy finish and kind of a tacky feeling on my under eyes. Some of that dewiness will also like seep through my concealer and powder, which kind of bothers me because I do prefer a matte under eye. It also has a really dewy finish as well, and it does stay tacky. It doesn't really like sink in or dry down or anything. And I do find that some of that dewiness will even like seep through the concealer and powder that I apply on top. I don't love that because I have found, actually thanks to this product, I think I've found that I do prefer a matte under eye as opposed to something really luminous. I do have dark circles that I want to correct, but I also have under eye bags that I want to just flatten out, and I think a matte finish is the best way to just flatten out that area. But if you are the target market for this color corrector, I think it is a fantastic product for what it's meant for. I would say if you have very dry under eyes and or more like hollow under eyes that you want to lift and illuminate, this might be a really good option to check out. It reminds me a lot of the Becca under eye corrector, which I no longer have, but I did have that one in the past. I didn't love that one either, probably for the same reasons I don't love this one, but I think if you like that type of under eye corrector, you will love this. Also, the value of this is incredible. This comes with so much product, so it'll probably take you years to run out of this. So I'm still on the hunt for my perfect under eye corrector. I definitely still like the Sigma one better than the Revolution one because it's just not quite as dewy and glowy. It's more just a corrector rather than an illuminator. So that's really the difference for me, but this Sigma under eye corrector is so expensive and it comes with so little product that I'm on the hunt for something that's a better value. So like I said, I am still on the hunt for my perfect under eye corrector, but I am planning on keeping this in my collection because it does come in handy. I think it will probably be nice to use in conjunction with another under eye corrector, or just to use in really targeted areas like the very innermost part of my under eye. It definitely does distract from the darkness of my under eye circles. And on occasion I do get super dry skin, especially in the winter time, so it might be nice to have for those times as well. So I'm just applying my regular concealer on top. Right now I'm using the LA Girl Pro Conceal. Alright, another thing from Makeup Revolution I purchased recently, this is the Super Dewy Liquid Blush in the shade You Got Me Blushing. I am not loving this. I don't think it's terrible or anything. I think I just don't like liquid blushes in this type of squeezy tube packaging. Like, don't make me have to measure out exactly how much I need, because I always end up, this is a very pigmented formula, and half the time I end up squeezing out too much and I waste more product than I even applied to my cheeks. So really the packaging is my main gripe with it. Like I try to get just like the smallest amount. This will probably be enough for both cheeks, but this is what the shade looks like. Really pretty. Like I love this kind of shade for blush. I just think I would prefer something like the NYX Sweet Cheeks packaging. This has a doe foot, so it's just a little bit easier to control how much you're getting. So I usually will just dot it on to my cheeks and then blend out. This is the e.l.f. Ultimate Blending Brush. Really like this for cream blush. I often find that it goes on a little bit patchy. So maybe the shade is just too dark for me, like, because this is definitely a much more pigmented type of formula than the NYX Sweet Cheeks, which is a bit more sheer and buildable. This is pretty intensely pigmented, so I probably should have gone with a lighter shade, but you can kind of see, like, do you see how it looks a little patchy right there? I'm gonna try, on this cheek, I'm just gonna pick up what's left on my hand on my brush. Let's see if that's better. Okay, that's a little better, but still not. Also, the sun is like, excuse me. But I just don't, I don't know. I just don't love. Yeah, I do think that one went on a little bit better, but I'm still not very in love with it, you know? More often than not, I end up with just way too much color on my cheeks when I use this, and it often goes on patchy. So also, I don't know where they get the name Super Dewy, because this is not dewy at all. Like, I'm sorry, where? The foundation I'm wearing today is the LYS Triple Fix foundation, which is a little bit glowy. Like, you can see some glow on my forehead, which I haven't powdered yet, and I feel like any glow you're seeing on my cheeks is mostly coming from that. But the color of this is actually really similar to one of my favorite cream blushes, the Milani Sweet Cheeks cream blush in the shade Nude Kiss. But the Milani one, first of all, is dewy, and I also just find it a lot more wearable and easy to apply. So I am going to be finding a new home for this Makeup Revolution liquid blush. It's just not for me, but I think if you like a really pigmented liquid blush, then you might really enjoy this one. Okay, so now I need to powder my face, and I wanted to let you know about this powder that I absolutely do not recommend. This is from the brand Ciate London, and I'm so sorry, Ciate, but please do better than this. This packaging is so cheap feeling. Like, this feels like a CoverGirl loose powder. So this is the Ciate London Everyday Vacay Coconut Setting Powder. Does have a coconut scent, kind of subtle, but it's definitely there. This doesn't even have a little door to close the sifter. You know what I'm saying? Like, even the e.l.f. loose powders have this little trap door, you know? So you can close up the holes when you're not using it, and that way it doesn't make a mess, which I just think is kind of unacceptable for a powder of this price point. So it's just gonna make a mess. If you wanted to travel with this, too bad, because half the powder is gonna end up in the lid by the time you reach your destination. I actually really don't like this powder anyway, though. I'm gonna use it for the under eyes and the face, but I just find this gives a little bit of a white cast. And my e.l.f. Halo Glow and my Makeup Revolution translucent baking powders both don't do that. And it also just feels noticeably more dry on my skin compared to the e.l.f. Halo Glow setting powder and the Makeup Revolution translucent baking powder. These two are still my top two, my top recommendations. And yeah, the Ciate Everyday Vacay powder, this will not be making a permanent home in my makeup collection. Another blush that I'm not going to try on today, I have applied this on camera before, so I think I'll try to find that clip and put it in. This is the Essence Pure Nude Baked Blush in the shade Shimmery Rose, and this absolutely lives up to the hype. I know these have been getting a ton of hype this year, and I think it is very well deserved. So this is a baked blush. It does have some glow to it, but there are no really big chunky glittery particles in there. More just like a very fine shimmer that gives it that sheen. Definitely reminiscent of the Milani baked blushes, but I actually think I like this formula better because it feels a lot softer than the Milani baked blushes. I've never minded the texture of the Milani blushes either. Most baked products do have a bit of a drier feel, and that's why I was so pleasantly surprised by just how soft and smooth they made these Essence blushes. It's definitely luminous, but it's not luminous in a metallic or like highlighter sort of way. It's not going to exaggerate any texture on my cheeks. It goes on looking really, really smooth. And I can even go in pretty heavy-handed with this and I don't feel like I end up with too metallic of a cheek, you know? So I love this, very glad I bought it. Essence makes some really good blushes. I also have their The Blush is what it's called, and I love that one too. They do a really good job with their blushes. This is the Revolution Highlighter Reloaded in the shade Just My Type. Okay, very small gripe here. I'm being kind of nitpicky, but I have decided I really don't like when brands put this deep, like rippled imprint in cheek products. It's not a huge issue with highlighters, but the blush in this line is also like this. And, you know, similar to like the Physicians Formula butter bronzers, those are like that as well. But I think this type of imprint on the surface of a cheek product makes it more difficult to get an even coating on a brush. And it often ends up going on patchy and then it's harder to blend out. Like I said, it's not a huge issue with highlighters, but it's still just, I don't know, it's become a bit of a pet peeve. This can definitely be a little intense even for me. Like I have to be kind of careful with how much I apply, but gives me a really pretty glow. Reminds me a lot of the Becca highlighters, like that amount of glow, or even the Ofra highlighters. Remember Ofra? This shade, Just My Type, being a more frosty color, I do have to be careful not to apply too much because sometimes it can almost look too white against my blush. So I would probably only recommend this shade for those of you with very fair skin tones, but they do have some other really pretty shades in this line. So probably not my all-time favorite highlighter, but I do like it enough to keep it in my collection. I enjoy this shade. I think this shade is going to be really pretty in the winter too, for like a frosty, cold girl makeup look. Are we still doing that this year? I don't know. I guess we'll find out. I also wanted to finally give my review on the Rare Beauty eyeshadow primer. I unfortunately don't recommend this. If you are someone that's looking for your primer to keep your eyeshadows from creasing, if that's something you struggle with, this is not going to cut it. I have had creasing with this on several occasions. Not every single time, like sometimes it's fine, but I want my eyeshadow primer, I don't want to have to, you know, wonder if my eyeshadow primer is going to work that day. Like I just want to know it's going to work. This does give a little bit of coverage to the eyelids. So if you just want something to give a little bit of coverage before you go in with your eyeshadows, then you might like this, but I just think there are so many better eyeshadow primers at the drugstore. I love the CoverGirl. The Milani one is really good. Lots of great options at the drugstore. Alright, the time has finally come to share my thoughts on the Merit Solo Shadows. So I have the shades Viper and Studio. So the first shade I tried was Studio, and the first time I tried this, I really enjoyed it. And I first tried this over an eyeshadow primer. It stayed on all day, didn't crease, which is what I would expect. I think mainly what I was really enjoying was the shade of this. This is what Studio looks like. It's just this pretty rosy beige color. I love this type of shade on my lids. It's kind of like a My Lids But Better shade, I like to think of it. But, you know, let's be honest, this shade itself is not that unique. I have this type of color in plenty of other eyeshadow palettes. Okay, so I had a good experience with Studio. Then I tried the shade Viper. So this is a deep forest green, and it's a beautiful color. I'm gonna apply the shade Viper today. They did also send the brush number 2. It's a dual-ended brush. This is sold separately for $20. So. And the Solo shadows are $24 a piece. I'm gonna go in with my finger but I think because this shade is much deeper, whereas Studio is a lot closer to my skin tone, I was able to see kind of just how patchy these can be. Laid that down with my finger. Now I'm gonna take the brush, the more like blending side of the brush, pick up a little more, and just gonna blend. So this is a cream to powder formula, and I think the issue is it dries down pretty quickly, and once it has dried down, you're done blending it. Like, it's not gonna blend anymore. So you have to work pretty quickly. Trying to blend fast. Admittedly, this doesn't look as bad as it has a few times before. You know, I'm obviously not, I'm trying to make it look good, and this is about as good as I can make it look. Okay, but my other issue with this is that it does not have good staying power. And when I wear these without eyeshadow primer underneath, they do crease and fade on me throughout the day. I just don't think it's worth the $24 price tag, honestly. I think if you really want to try this eyeshadow, I would stick to a shade that's closer to your skin tone. I also wanted to point out this packaging is really hard to open. It gets kind of stuck halfway, and then, I don't know, it's just hard to twist off. It's hard to grip onto the lid to twist it off. It's just, yeah, not the best packaging design in my opinion. Oh yeah, I'll use that smaller end of the brush here to apply some just under my eye. I would say the brush is nice, but I definitely don't think it's worth $20 extra. I think the price point of these shadows would have made a lot more sense if this brush were included with the shadows, because this doesn't feel like a brush that's worth $20. It honestly feels like something that would come with an eyeshadow palette. But do you see how Viper has already started to fade on this eyelid? And I mean, I'm wearing the Rare Beauty eyeshadow primer, which is better than nothing, you know, but it's still fading. So verdict for these, I will be passing on Viper to a new home, but I am going to keep Studio in my collection just because I like the shade so much, and I do find this one a lot easier to work with simply because the shade is so much more of a natural tone for my skin. I've also been trying out some K-Beauty from Stylovana, and one of the products they sent over was the Unleashia Glitterpedia Palette. I just recently started hearing more about this brand, and I love their packaging. I think it is so cute. This is the Glitterpedia palette number 7. It has all these cute, fun colors. I definitely think I would be a lot more into this if I weren't in like full-on fall makeup mode right now, but I think this is gonna be so much fun in the spring and summer. The shimmers in here all have a squishy texture. So here are the 4 squishy shimmers in this palette. These 3 lighter ones are all more like toppers. Really pretty. I love that yellowy one. And the blue one's really fun too. This one is more of an opaque shimmer. And the mattes are sheer but buildable, but not at all in a cheap way. Like, it doesn't feel like dollar store eyeshadow that goes on sheer because it like practically doesn't show up. These are more of just a buildable formula, but they blend so easily. Like, you practically don't even have to blend these. They just melt into the skin so easily. Yeah, I've been really impressed. I really love these 2 mattes here, this matte light peach and then this slightly deeper beige color. I like to put both of those in my crease, and that ends up just being the perfect crease combo for my skin tone. It does have a pressed glitter in the middle. I still haven't used that shade, but I think this palette is really fun. I am going to keep this. I think I'm gonna have so much fun with this in the warmer months. I'm gonna take a little bit of this beige shade. This is called Coconut Aid. I'm gonna just buff that into my crease. Hopefully that'll help hide how much the Merit shadow is fading. And why not? I'll also take a little bit of that matte peach, which is called Coral Beach. And that I'm just blending over the beige, a little bit above it as well. Just kind of blending it all the way up to my brow bone. Alright, and then I'm gonna take some of this yellow shimmer. I think this is gonna look really pretty over this green shadow. It gives a really pretty sparkle. And for my inner corner, I'm gonna take some of this satin peach here. Shade makes a really pretty brightening inner corner highlight, and I think that salvaged that Merit eyeshadow really nicely. Like I said, this was gifted to me by Stylovana. They did give me a discount code. The code itself is not an affiliate code, but if you shop through my link, that is an affiliate link. Normally that discount code is 10% off, but through the end of September, they've elevated it to either 12% off with no minimum purchase or 22% off if your purchase exceeds $39. Okay, it's time to finally address all of the setting sprays that I have been testing recently. This has gotten a little out of hand. These 2 I purchased, and then these other 2 Revolution ones were sent in PR. So let's start with this one. This is the Flower Beauty Seal the Deal Hydrating Setting Spray. I'm not going to be able to apply all 4 of these, but I'm at least going to apply as many as I can, which is 2. Alright, so this spray is gonna go on the right side of my face. Here's the thing with the flower setting spray, I do like the product itself, what I don't like is the sprayer. You see I got some big droplets here. A lot of times I get even bigger droplets with this, and it kind of messes up the makeup underneath. It gives a little bit of a glow. I do feel like it helps lock my makeup in as well, but I can't get past the sprayer of this. Every time I use this, I end up with huge droplets. You can see there's 2 right here on my forehead. I have tried like tapping them out with my sponge, but whenever I do that, it lifts up the foundation underneath. So I just have to kind of let it dry, and it still kind of dries funky sometimes. So they call this a custom spray, and I think I've gathered what that means is it's supposed to behave more like a continuous sprayer, like what would be on an aerosol can. You know how when you press down the nozzle on an aerosol can, the spray just comes out continuously rather than you having to like press up and down a bunch of times? I think that's kind of what this is supposed to be like. I definitely prefer the mister that Revolution uses on their setting sprays. I've actually now tried 4 Makeup Revolution setting sprays, and I've liked the sprayer on all of them. So I do want to mention this does have a noticeable scent as well. It just has like a sort of perfumey scent. The scent doesn't bother me, but just FYI. For a glowy setting spray, I would still recommend the Makeup Revolution Fix and Glow over this. Let's do on the other side of my face, I want to show the Revolution Infinite Mattifying Setting Spray, because this one definitely mattifies. I just get a much more even mist with these. This one actually has a similar scent to the flower one, I just realized. Similar, just perfumey sort of scent. I can definitely see just how much more matte my skin looks with this one now that it's dried, versus the flower side, which did give a bit of a glow. So the Revolution Infinite Mattifying Setting Spray really just is what it says it is. It mattifies, it does give your makeup a bit of that tight feeling where it feels like it's locked it into place. All of these do contain denatured alcohol, which I think is pretty standard for any kind of setting spray that's claiming to increase the wear time of your makeup. I think they pretty much have to have denatured alcohol in there in order to give it that effect. I'm under the impression that you kind of need denatured alcohol in a setting spray if you want it to have that long wear effect. It's just very effective, and it's something I'm happy to keep in my arsenal for those times when I really do want to make sure my makeup is staying in place. I can see this being a great setting spray, especially for photography, because it is more mattifying. It just gives a bit more of a blurred look to the face. I also think this is probably the kind of setting spray that would be nice if you want to set your face with a setting spray as opposed to powder, because it does have that mattifying effect. So I haven't tried it for that purpose, but I might try that soon because this seems like a good product for that. The other setting spray I bought along with that flower one, this is the Revolution Calming Makeup Fixing Spray with Cannabis Sativa Seed Oil. And I won't be applying this one today. This one also has a scent. It has more of a, definitely what I would interpret as a calming sort of scent, like maybe a little reminiscent of cucumber. Yeah, there's some cucumber vibes in here. It doesn't smell like what you might think based on the packaging either. This I would describe as a more in-between setting spray. It's not really mattifying, it's not really glowy, it's just somewhere in between. I really just feel like this helps meld all my makeup together and keeps it lasting a little bit longer. I do feel like it helps lock the makeup in, and I feel like this just melds all my makeup together. It's a little bit hydrating, but it's not super glowy or matte. It's just a good in-between setting spray that I'm more likely to reach for this on a regular basis as opposed to something like the Revolution Infinite one. This I would think of as more of an everyday setting spray, whereas the Infinite one I would think of as more of a, like, I need heavy duty, long wear action today. That's how I differentiate these two. I really do find the scent calming. Like, I just think feels like a nice spa-like moment. And lastly, we have the Revolution Sport Fix Lasting Hold Fixing Spray. So this is, they say, this is supposed to help your makeup last through an intense workout. I'm not someone who does a whole lot of intense workouts at this current moment in my life, so I haven't tested it under those conditions. But if you are, maybe you're like a dancer or you just need your makeup to last through a lot of physical activity, this could be a good one to check out. Obviously, Makeup Revolution, they want you to think that you need a different setting spray for every possible occasion. Like, you need one for working out, you need one for calming. They have a ton of setting sprays in their line. I really don't think you need more than like 1 or 2 setting sprays, but this is the only one of these 4 that does not have any scent. I don't see any sort of fragrance in the ingredients either, so that's nice if you're looking for something fragrance-free. But I think this formula actually makes a lot of sense for sport because it doesn't dry down to a completely matte finish like the Infinite one does, which I actually think is better. If you're going to be sweating, I almost feel like sweat would look more noticeable on a matte finish. This one dries down to just more of a natural looking finish. It's not really glowy, but it's not matte either. I am planning on keeping all 4 of these. I kind of like having just a little variety. It's kind of fun. I would say my favorite of the group, though, probably would have to be the calming one from Revolution, just because this is my kind of daily setting spray. Okay, this look is very disjointed because I'm just trying on so many different products that don't necessarily go together. I'm feeling like that blush is looking a little crazy right now. But moving right along, Jones Road sent over their new lip pencils. First, I need to say, I have realized that I pretty much like every lip pencil, so I'm probably not the best judge of a lip pencil, but I did keep 2 shades to try on. Okay, some things I really enjoy about these lip pencils. I actually really like how creamy these are. They are creamier feeling than a lot of my other lip pencils. I mean, sometimes I do like a more stiff lip pencil as well, and I wouldn't say these are so creamy that they're gonna just go sliding all around, but they are a little bit more on the soft and creamy side. But I'm gonna apply the shade Mauve. I do kind of like how creamy these are because they glide on really smoothly, and they're a lot easier to blend as well, so I feel like they end up looking really natural. The shade Mauve is really like a My Lips But Better color. Like, it is really close to the color of my lips, and I think this is closer to the color of my lips than any other lip liner I have. Yeah, they're really easy to just blend out. So that's the shade Mauve. I'll also swatch Nudist. So this one is Mauve and this one is Nudist. See, Nudist is just a bit more brown, but these being more on the creamy side, they're not going to be very long wearing. Like, if you want something long wearing that's gonna really lock in to your lips and not budge, I would recommend the Kokie retractable lip liners. Those are also a fraction of the price of these. One thing I don't like about this is the packaging. The packaging just feels so cheap. These lip pencils retail for $22, and I don't mind a wooden lip pencil at all. I think the packaging itself looks pretty, but really what I have an issue with is the lid. Like, this lid just feels so cheap to me. It doesn't really click on there. You just kind of have to push it on and hope for the best. But I have a feeling if you were to throw this into your makeup bag or something, the lid, it doesn't feel very snug on there. I am going to keep these because I am enjoying them. I really like the shades, especially Nudist and Mauve, really enjoying both. So I am going to keep them, but I would really only recommend getting these on sale if you're interested. I've also been trying out a couple of lip oils. One of them I would not recommend. These are the Kaja Juicy Glass lip oils. Super cute packaging, as Kaja always does. They have a little heart inside the lid there, you can see. The 2 shades that I have opened here are Plum Paloma and Grape Glowtini. I was really excited about Plum Paloma because it looks like a really fun, like, brownish color for the fall, but unfortunately this is one of those colors that I think it adjusts to the pH of your lips and it just turns pink. Like, it just looks, it turns completely hot pink. Like, the color of the doe foot there, that's the color that this actually is. So I was a little disappointed in that. I don't love this color on my lips all the time. Sometimes I'm going for that, but most of the time I'm not. So I was a little let down by that one. The shade Grape Glowtini is not that way though. So there's Grape Glowtini. This one doesn't change colors, it just stays clear. And they do seem to each have a different scent. The grape one does smell like grapes. The plum one, I guess it smells like plums. It does smell different from the grape one. So I've definitely used the grape one more, and I don't mind this. I mean, it's a fun experience to apply. I really do enjoy the grape scent. And this is a lip oil that's not going to have like long staying power by any means, but it also doesn't immediately disappear into your lips. I would say it hangs around for about half an hour if you're just sitting there doing nothing. If you're eating and drinking, obviously it's going to wear off really quickly, but the thing I don't like about this is it feels nice and moisturizing when I apply it, but after it wears off, my lips feel more dry than they did when I first put it on. So I think these are a fun product, but if you want something that's actually going to nourish your lips, I would not go for these. A lip oil I have been enjoying though is the one from Saie. This is their new Glossy Bounce lip oil in the shade Push. It looks like like an opaque brown at first. Like I was like, oh my, that's gonna be so brown. But I've been really wanting a nice brown lip oil. This is kind of what I wanted the Kaja one to be. It looks really opaque in the tube, but it goes on much more sheer. Here, I'll swatch it first. Apparently this is where I'm swatching things now. Yeah, so there is what the swatch looks like. So it's translucent, but it does give a lot of color to the lips. So I'm gonna apply this over that not Merit, these brands are running together. I'm gonna apply this over that Jones Road lip pencil. I really like that color for fall, and I do feel like there is a shortage of pigmented lip oils out there. Most lip oils, even if they come in like 10 shades, the shades aren't gonna look that different like once they're on, but I really like the amount of color payoff that this gives. I also really appreciate that this is not stringy at all. It gives a really nice amount of shine to the lips, but it doesn't make those gross gloopy strings as I'm talking, but also it feels really nice and hydrating on my lips, and it leaves behind some lasting moisture as well. As you're wearing it, you'll feel it start to sink in, but it does leave a nice layer of moisture on top of your lips, which I really appreciate. I would say this is one of the more long-wearing lip oils that I've tried. I do think it's longer wearing than the Kaja ones, and it also just makes my lips feel a lot more hydrated. So as far as lip oils go, I am really impressed with this one. This is the first product I've ever tried from Saie, and I'm impressed. This has no scent either. I almost wish it did, because it does have a little bit of like it just smells like product that is not fragranced, you know? Yeah, it has a little bit of like a plasticky smell, but once it's on my lips, I don't really smell that. The last product is another lip product. This is also gifted from Stylovana. This is the Amuse Dew Tint in the shade Fig Dew. This is a lip stain. So it has the feel of like a watery lip stain, similar to the e.l.f. glossy lip stains. There's the color. Honestly, not my favorite color on myself. At least not maybe not this time of year. I think I will probably wear this color more in like the spring and summer. What I really like about this lip stain is once it's on there, it has a glossy finish, but it is completely transfer proof. Like no color is going to come off of here. I probably need to wait a little bit longer for it to set, because I did get a little bit of transfer. I've noticed it probably takes like 10 or 15 minutes to get to that place, and it does leave behind a very long wearing stain as well. So I think this is my favorite lip stain formula that I've tried. I think I like it even more than the Aether ones. Those are more of a lip oil though, so it's kind of a different, it's you can't really compare. But if you like the texture of the e.l.f. lip stains, or if you've tried those, if you like a very thin watery texture, that's how this one is, and I really enjoy it. So I'm gonna keep this because I do think like this isn't really my color in the fall and winter. I don't know, but I think there are probably some looks that this color would go better with, that I would enjoy it more. So not so much a color favorite, but I do really like the formula. Okay, that was a lot of makeup, and this look is ridiculous. Like I need to wash this off because I don't like how all of this is working together. Let me know your thoughts below if you've tried any of these products. I'm really curious to hear what your experience was like. But thank you guys so much for hanging out today. I hope you had fun. If you did, be sure to give the video a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Don't forget to check out the Patreon or the channel membership also if you're interested in supporting my channel further. Otherwise, I hope you all have an amazing rest of your day, and I will talk to you again very soon in my next video. Bye!